Thanks for being with us. We have the sweetest young lady with us. She's an inspirational speaker, and she has a business called The Potential Finder. And she's going to share with us, and she does sign language, which I'm kind of interested in. It's very intimidating to me. But Jeanie McGarvey, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Julie.
So, I don't even know where to start with your story. Right, well, let's just start when you were born. Just let's start from the beginning.
Sure. Hi, I'm Jeanie McGarvey, the Potential Finder. When I was born, I was actually born with hand deformities on both of my hands. It's called congenital constriction band syndrome. And that's a really long name to say that when I was born, all my fingers were connected together. And I am, like I said, I'm 24. I've had 23 surgeries and procedures to get my hands to what they are now. They were connected before, and I had surgeries to separate them, to be able to have more mobility and cosmetic as well. And as you can guess, growing up, it was challenging. Going from surgery to surgery, almost always had a cast or splint on my hand. Kids can be cruel at times, and there was always some bullying and teasing involved with that. But I have to say, God's incredible, and He blessed me with the most amazing parents. And from a very young age, they taught me that when someone laughs at you, you laugh right along with them, and you take it in stride. For example, when I went from a private Christian school in middle school to a public school in high school, they automatically assumed I must be smart because I came from a private school. And then with my hands, a lot of times they called me Nubs. So the name Dr. Nubs appeared in my life and was something that I was called all throughout high school. But then I took it in stride, and my senior year, I created a t-shirt that said Dr. Nubs on the front, and on the back it said I have a PhD in nubology. So as you can see, throughout my life, my dad especially, his name's Randy, has always instilled in me that I am beautiful just the way I am. You know, Psalm 139 says that you're beautifully and wonderfully made in God's image. And that is something that I've taken and run with, and I've been able to tell my story to a lot of people and impacted many, many people.
How awesome is that? Now, do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have one sister. She's 22. She's about to graduate from nursing school. We live together in Bexley, Ohio.
Ah,
fun.
That's wonderful. So I heard you say you like to speak.
I do.
Okay, so what type of functions are you speaking at?
It's a great question. So I've always been told that I have the gift of gab. It started from a very early age. I can remember going to family holiday events and getting everyone's attention so they could hear me talk or sing. And when I was in high school, I joined an organization called the FFA. A lot of people know it as Future Farmers of America. Through that organization, I had the opportunity to do public speaking and debate and parliamentary procedure, and that showed me my love of speaking. And then from there, I realized, instead of talking about agriculture, I could talk about my story, I could talk about what God's done for me, and I can share it with people. And at the very end of my senior year, I was a state officer for FFA, for the state of Ohio, and I got to speak in front of 20,000 students. Wow. And it just instilled in me this idea, man, I just want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to share my story and impact others. And now that I have graduated, I am a 2017 graduated of Ohio University. I have a bachelor's in communications. Now I use my speaking motivationally through Toastmasters International and my own company called The Potential Finder.
All right. That's great.
Potential Finder, I like that. So what are the steps, or what do you start with to find potential?
It's a great question. I think that there are two types of people in this world. They're the potential finders and they're the potential seekers. And I want to give you a little bit of a definition of what I consider those. So the potential finder is somebody like me who has this ability to see someone not as they are right now, but where they could be. And just see all of that potential inside them and all the things that they could do and exceed and glorify God with. A potential seeker is someone who may not understand that they have potential. They might feel stuck or upset with where they are, and they need someone to pull that out of them, to help them see how amazing they are and the potential that they have. And that's something that I strive to do with the Potential Finder. Our mission is discovering your infinite potential. And I truly believe that everyone has infinite potential. And the first step in looking for that is seeking it out, being around people who believe in you and want to promote you and lift you up and help you continue down your road to success.
Awesome.
Wow, that's good. I want to go back to the FFA because we have a friend whose daughter was very involved in Illinois, and they had a farm, and showed cows and did all that. So what was your animal or your interest, or how'd you even become interested in that?
That's a great question. I was kind of an anomaly when I was in FFA. I come from a very rural community of Baltimore, Ohio. I'm a 2014 graduate of Liberty Union High School, and I live in the country. My house is corn locked, as I like to say. There's corn on all sides of my house. But I actually didn't grow up raising any animals. My family breeds miniature schnauzers, and that was my SAE, or what we call the supervised agricultural experience. It was helping my mom, Karen, breed our miniature schnauzers and sell them. And I did FFA from 8th grade all the way through graduating. And like I said, my final year in 2014, I was the District 7 president of Ohio FFA Association.
Wow. So it was dogs?
It was
the
dogs,
whole time?
miniature schnauzers.
I didn't realize they would do that was a thing for FFA. That's so awesome.
It's actually interesting because FFA, it's known as this cows, plows, and sows kind of organization.
Yes.
And while, yes, they do a lot of that, that's the foundation of what began, there are so many people involved with FFA. There's veterinarians, business people, communicators. There's so many different facets to agriculture. And regardless of if people realize it or not, when you're wearing clothes, you're supporting agriculture. The cotton that's in your shirt was made by a farmer.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, when you're given an opportunity to speak and you say you tell your story, share a little bit of that with us. What are you saying to your audience?
Well, the first thing I do is mention how I was born and how I was raised, which you got before. Having hand deformities, it definitely had some challenges and things that I needed to overcome. And I use my story as a way to motivate others. Now, not everybody has a physical ailment or deformity that keeps them from doing what they want to do. But there's always something. It might be a mindset. It might be the way you were raised and circumstances that you faced. Everyone has a struggle. And I think that what makes my message universal, as I can talk to people and share that with them. I had a rough go growing up, but God got me through it. He's incredible. He can take even the worst circumstance and make them beautiful. There was a song that the Christian artist Stephen Curtis Chapman wrote right after one of his kids passed away. And in the lyrics it says, "Out of the ashes, beauty will rise." And that's something I always think of. A lot of people may look at my hands and think it was a mistake. But I read God's word, and it says that I'm beautifully and wonderfully made, that He created my innermost being. He knit me together in my mother's womb. And those words, when I was 12 years old and I read that for the first time, it was like any doubt that I had or any insecurity of my hands, I realized God gave me this. This is a gift that I can use to talk to people I wouldn't be able to talk to otherwise, to share my message of what He's done for me, and to help others draw close to Him and succeed in life.
That is beautiful.
It's hard these days to find a meal that is low in calories, nutritious, and tastes great, which is why TCT wants to offer some help with the Healthy Hippie Chef's book, Groovy Grub. This book was written by the Healthy Hippie Chef, Stacy Pisoni, and featured on TCT's Julie and Friends, and will provide simple, nutritious recipes for the whole family. Groovy Grub is packed with 69 nutritious recipes that are meaty enough for a man, yet light enough for a lady. Groovy Grub can be yours for a love gift of $25 or more. To receive your copy, send your support to TCT, P.O. Box 308, Heron, Illinois 62948, and ask for the Groovy Grub.
That is so wonderful.
Isn't that great?
Oh my goodness. And you're only 24 years old. How'd you start the business and everything?
That's another great question. So I am actually in the process of creating it now. I have been doing public speaking and motivational speaking on and off throughout several years, but it was only now that I started to really focus on, let's make this an actual business. I have had several jobs throughout my life, mainly in sales, and while I enjoy it, it's not my passion project. I want to make a business out of talking to others about what God has done for me and helping them to do better in their own lives. And that's such fulfilling work for me. So that's something that I'm hoping to continue and start. And I'm also working on writing a book. So here soon, that will be a thing as well.
Wonderful. So tell us about some of the people who you're helping.
A lot of my audiences are youth. I've spoken in front of school districts, church youth groups, and events, and I tend to have a sweet spot with middle school and high schoolers. They're right in such a important age where they are discovering who they are and what they want out of life, and they're very influenceable. And my goal is that they would be influenced by the right kinds of people. And I want to be one of those people who gets in there and motivates them and tells them, you can do whatever you want to, Fran. You can do anything you set your mind to, Jewelry. And by doing that, I think that they have more of an opportunity to succeed when other people just pour into them and show them how incredible they are.
That's good. Now, what are you doing on social media?
I love social media. It is a great tool. I am currently in a project called #Daily Encouragement. For the last 2.5 years, every single day, I go down my friends list, and it's in alphabetical order. And whoever's next, their name, I write an encouragement to them, telling them how incredible they are, how much I appreciate them in my life.
That's awesome.
And I am almost through it, actually. I think this year will be my final year as far as my friends list. And it's been an incredible journey. I started it because I noticed that social media can be so negative. You look at your news feeds and all you see is political nonsense and people complaining about their lives, and I just wanted to be something where people would see my page and at least smile. Something would brighten their day, and that's how the Daily Encouragement started, and it has been an incredible journey of people responding so well. Even if it's a message to you and Fran sees it, it could influence her and uplift her for the day. So I do that. I also post a lot about the Potential Finder and the things I'm doing. You guys will be on there, I'm sure. But I love social media. It's a great way to connect with people.
Wow,
What
that's
a great idea.
It is a great idea.
People do need encouragement. Okay, so tell us about your theater experience and work.
I am an amateur, let me say that first. I am not a professional actress, but I do enjoy dancing and singing and acting ever since I was little. Like I said, those family reunions, I'd get everybody circled around to hear me sing. And I do it through a community theater in Columbus, actually several different ones. My last show that I did was Legally Blonde, the musical, at my alma mater, Ohio University Lancaster. Have any of you seen that movie with Reese Witherspoon?
Yes.
Okay, so I played the hairstylist in that show, the one that did the bend and snap.
Oh my God.
It was a lot of fun. It's probably the most quirky, wacky role that I did. But I really enjoy it. It's a lot
Oh
of
my
fun.
gosh, I would have loved to see that. Does she have the dog in the play?
Yes, and let me tell you, those dogs are troopers. They work harder than we do, for sure.
Oh, that was great.
Oh, any accidents on stage?
Well, during that production, we had an interesting stage setup where there was extenders to the stage, but there were also 2 holes for geysers to push out smoke. And every time we bring the dog out, we have to go around these holes. And the dog's actual name is Mariah. And there was a point in the show where almost had a dog go down that hole, but thankfully we had glow tape and we kept it from happening.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's so funny. Oh. Well, I want to go back. Do you have something?
I was thinking about the age group that you're dealing with, that you prefer to deal with, and I was just called the other day by my grandson. I need you to teach Teens Church next Wednesday. I was just thinking about the potential that they have. And so what you do is kind of pull on that or regulate it, because it's all there, it's so full, but if it's not regulated, then it can't be actualized. And so how do you, when you approach the children, have you ever, well, first of all, have you ever come into the room with some that didn't really want to hear didn't think they want to hear what you have to share? How do you deal with that initial approach, I should say?
Well, Fran, They're teenagers. So yes, I definitely have people who don't want to listen to me. And then I have others who are like, okay, I get out of class for a period, you know, that's great, but then they just ignore me. So the first thing that I do, and I think this is coming from the Dale Carnegie School of Public Speaking, is you got to get their attention somehow.
Okay.
You've got to start with a story or something that's going to grab a hold of them and make them realize, hey, you need to listen to this. So it could be a joke, it could be a story. A lot of times I find that when I make a joke at my own expense, it goes really well. Like, you guys want to see a trick?
Whoa.
I get mixed reactions from that, but obviously if I start with that, then I have to explain. So I was born with hand deformities. I'm very comfortable with my body and who I am,
And by that time, you have their attention.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And like I said before, teenagers are so impressionable, and sometimes they come from terrible backgrounds where they don't have any type of support system.
Right.
So it's sometimes enough to just tell them, I believe in you. You're great. You can do anything. And words have such power. You know, we can use them to kill and destroy, or we can use them to uplift and motivate and encourage. And that's what I try to do. And I think that's what everybody should do. God gave us a mouth to use for his glory. And that is what I plan to do with the Potential Finder. Let these kids and adults, I speak to adult women as well, let them know that they are loved and they are worthy.
Do you get to talk with them one-on-one?
Sometimes. It really depends on the environment that I'm in. A lot of times it's a school assembly, and when it's like that, I don't really get as much one-on-one. Maybe afterwards I'll have people come up and say, good job, I want to get to know you. But for the most part, I get those group settings.
Wow, well, that's wonderful.
But you're young, there's so much.
I know.
I want to go back to, when was your first surgery?
My first surgery was when I was 6 weeks old. So don't ask me the details, I don't remember. Maybe my parents could answer that one.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So what was it like? I mean, I guess it was normal for you to have surgery, because I'm like, what is it like as a kid to have the surgeries or be in the hospital, and just what?
Yeah. So growing up, I can't remember a time when I first recognized, oh, my hands are different. But I can give you a story, and it's going to sound sad, but I don't want you to take it that way because I find it humorous now. When I was in 3rd grade, my class was in recess, and we first discovered static electricity. There was a kid who would go down the slide holding on to the rails, and they'd generate enough static or electricity that if there was a ring of kids around connecting pinkies, if that kid on the slide would touch one, we'd all get shocked.
Whoa.
And so I remember, I think I was in 2nd grade. I thought, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. It's science come alive. So I connected pinkies with the girl next to me, and we're having fun playing. And before too long, another girl comes and wants to join. And she looks down to grab pinkies with me, and she sees my hands and runs away screaming.
It's hard these days to find a meal that is low in calories, nutritious, and tastes great, which is why TCT wants to offer some help with the Healthy Hippie Chef's book, Groovy Grub. This book was written by the Healthy Hippie Chef, Stacy Pisoni, and featured on TCT's Julie and Friends, and will provide simple, nutritious recipes for the whole family. Groovy Grub is packed with 69 nutritious recipes that are meaty enough for a man, yet light enough for a lady. Groovy Grub can be yours for a love gift of $25 or more. To receive your copy, send your support to TCT, P.O. Box 308, Heron, Illinois 62948, and ask for the Groovy Grub.
So yes, sad story. I laugh at it now. But I think that was probably one of my first experiences where I realized I'm not like everybody else. And
What grade were you in?
that would be 2nd grade, 2nd grade. And from then on, I had an awareness of my hands, but I never really let it bother me. I knew that it was just what I had to deal with. And actually, some things that people thought I would really struggle with, like riding a bike or writing, I do those pretty easily. In kindergarten, actually, I taught myself how to ride a bike. My parents were so upset. We had bike day, and everyone else was riding their bikes. I had a two-wheeler with training wheels, and we were told to come inside for class, and bad me stayed, and I saw this pink two-wheeler bike, and I just knew I wanted to ride it. So I picked it up and started riding. When my parents picked me up that day, I went to the recess room and I showed them. I said, "Look what I can do." And they asked my teacher, "Where did she learn how to ride a bike?" And they're going, "I don't know." So it's just things like that. I think I've always been resilient and wanted to prove people wrong. I'm really competitive, so the idea that someone thinks I can't do something just makes me want to do it even more.
Oh, that's
Right.
Oh my goodness.
That is wonderful.
So, okay, your sister's younger than you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I just wonder what that whole dynamic it was like growing up. If you're competitive, is she as well?
My sister is stubborn. That is the best way to describe her. She and I are polar opposites. I would consider myself an extrovert. She's more of an introvert. But in every way that I fail, she succeeds. And I love my sister more than most people on the planet. She is extremely talented. She's going to be graduating from nursing school at Mount Carmel this February. And she is so compassionate and patient. She works for a mental hospital. So as you can imagine, you have to have extreme patience. And she's very creative, where I lack. I do not have any creativity. So we live together. And as you can tell, those opposites, they sometimes attract, sometimes pull away. But I love her to death, and she's going to do incredible things.
That's wonderful.
So what were your parents like, and what was your upbringing like? Did you go to church? Because they sound like they're pretty special themselves.
So my parents are Randy and Karen McGarvey. They are 5th grade sweethearts. They met in 5th grade. Yeah, my mom tells everyone that my dad knew that she was the one when she threw him in a mud puddle in 5th grade. Don't know how true that is, but that's what they like to go with. But I grew up in a Christian home. I love my parents. They have instilled in me everything I can think of, all my beliefs, my sense of humor I definitely get from my dad, my compassion I get from my mom. And my dad's a contractor. He owns his own business called American Dream Exteriors. And my mom is a school nurse in Canal City Schools. And they've always instilled in me a love for Jesus. Growing up, we all went to church together, and I felt like I lived at church, because if I wasn't there for Sunday service, it was Sunday school or youth group or helping my dad teach classes. So that's something that was always instilled in me. And I'm Randy Jr. Everyone says I'm just like my dad. Hopefully they don't think I look like my dad, because he's short, he's got a little bit of a belly on him, and he's bald. So I hope I don't look like him, but I definitely do act like him.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I love her. Oh, I know. Okay, so the Potential Finder, this business that you're getting going, what's the vision for that?
I think it is best laid out through my actual vision statement, which is discovering others' infinite potential. I have a strong belief that everyone has infinite potential. And I want to do whatever I can to create resources for people to discover that potential and utilize it. Think of TED Talks. What I want to create is a web page where you can get resource after resource, no matter what your field is in. Say it's health, communication, finance. I want to have a link where people can go and they can hear from other speakers in that field and help them to become better, to be a resource for any kind of potential that they're going for. That's why I started the YouTube. I want to have like 5-minute videos where I'm just encouraging people to get their story out of there. And one thing that I have learned here recently, like I said, I went to the Impact Speakers Academy this past weekend with a huge mentor of mine. His name's Greg Walker, or the Big Dreamer. He said something to me that I really do think is life-changing. He said that your message is the medicine that could save somene's life. And that when you're not sharing your message, you're being selfish.
Wow.
And I was like, "Ooh, Greg, what are you talking about? Don't call me selfish. I don't want to be called that." But it's true. Every single person has a message that could be life-changing to someone. That's the medicine that could save someone's life. And when we choose to withhold that message, that story that God has given us, we're doing people a disservice. So I am committed that I'm going to share my story as many times as I can with as many people as possible, because God gave that to me. And it can be used to impact others. And it might be the medicine for someone to change their life.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So talk about your book.
Well, that is a work in progress. I don't have a date. I just have a couple chapters. But simply put, it's my story. It's growing up with hand deformities, overcoming that, the story that Christ has put in me, and the fact that anyone and everyone has infinite potential. And it's something that if you just have somebody who believes in you, is going to push you and be there for you, you can accomplish whatever you set your mind to.
Oh,
We love it.
sounds like a great project.
Thank you.
I can't remember what it was.
Oh, you can't remember?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So I feel like you're gonna teach classes. You're gonna have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I would
I
love
think
to.
you're gonna be multifaceted.
Thank you. I would love to. Teaching is definitely a skill set that I would love to utilize. I did it a lot in high school, but not so much here recently. But public speaking is something I would love to teach a class on, or even with the potential finder, teaching others how to be potential finders. Once they've gotten past that potential seeking stage where they don't realize they have it, once they got it and they know other people have it, how you can share that with others.
Right.
That's great.
Oh my goodness. Do you think there'll be another book in the future? Or is it in your mind somewhere?
Yes, I've got a
Okay.
couple in my mind. One is a long topic for another day, but I would love to continuously writing. One of my biggest inspirations is John Maxwell, and I've written almost all of his books I've read, and he's who I want to be. I want to be a motivational speaker and author and get to travel and talk about God's graciousness in my life and what he can do for you.
How do you see potential working with purpose? Do you bring those two together? Because they're so similar, but they're both necessary.
Definitely. I think you measure potential in a lot of ways. Skill set, drive, but passion and purpose, I think, is the most important thing. It's until somebody discovers their why that the how can even matter. You could work really, really hard on something, but if you don't have a passion for it, it won't get to its biggest potential.
Exactly.
I've worked for years and years in sales, and I'm good at it, I've been told, but it's not my passion. So I'll only get to this point. You know, it's not until you start working on your passions that you can push through that threshold and just continue to grow and
good.
expand your reach and have the greatest potential.
She's so smart. That was
is
such a good answer.
awesome.
That was a
Yes,
great answer.
Good. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. I want to know what see, now I have to know what the other books are going to be about. I'll just, you'll have to come back, right?
I would love to, anytime.
So they can find you on YouTube.
Yes,
How do
ma'am.
they, just by your name?
The Potential Finder. I just posted my very first YouTube video. I was telling the ladies before that I love speaking to people, but once a video is in my face, it's permanent and it's scary. So my very first YouTube video is out on Monday, but I also do a lot on social media. You can find me at Jeanie McGarvey on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever social media outlet you use. You can also follow my business, The Potential Finder, on the same outlets as well.
Awesome.
I love you. This was
too.
so good. You guys are so. She's like
was
this personality
wonderful.
plus. Thank you for
Yes,
watching.
she
We'll see you
is.
next time.
Thank you.
Oh my God.